So the astute of you will notice that, hey, isn't this same scene as the end of the previous game jam? And I'll have to say yes. Yes, it is. Because I am filming this back to back because the game jam started 5 hours ago. And I just finished the last game jam about an hour ago. And I needed a break. So I gave myself a bit of a break. Started looking through some assets I could get for this next one. The theme is out of place and an optional theme of timing. So as I'm looking through these assets, I'm also thinking, okay, what can I do? What's in my scope? Blah, 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 blah. I just finished the whole thing of saying to myself, I need to scope back, lean a little bit out of what I already know, all these different things. And I need to not beat my head against the wall and not be so stubborn. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to use assets I already either had, which I don't have any good looking assets. So I figured browse itch, look at what's for free, what's low pay if need be. It started hitting me where it was like, okay, just focus on getting a protagonist that we want to use. And I found a couple. Let me show you what those couple look like. So the first one is this cute little bread character. And I realized, okay, so it can only go left and right and idle facing forward. There is no back animation. In theory, I could go in and edit the animation because it is have a source sprite of a sprite. Then the next one is this really cute mushroom one. And it's the same thing. It's got an A sprite where I could do a similar thing of changing up some of it. And then we have this cat player asset, which I thought would be cool. It's got more of an attack and ducking and more like actually doing things versus just existing. Then we have this fairy one. I had previously pulled it from myself at one point, then put it back, found it again. And I've thought about trying to use it for a few different things. And then I found this one, and it's that just the mushroom is available for usage. The rest of them aren't, so it's just the mushroom, and I thought, okay, that's fine. So then I'm just thinking, I'm like, okay, I've narrowed it down to these. All of them can only go left or right. A couple of them I can modify to go backwards. So if I did want ones to go backwards, that would narrow it down to the first two, the bread and the mushroom, the cutesy mushroom. And then I saw this, and I thought, you don't fit in Candyland. You don't fit in Candyland. You certainly don't fit in Candyland. You kind of fit in Candyland. Bread would definitely fit in Candyland. So I thought, interesting. Then I saw this one, and I was like, that has nothing to do with like any of these guys, except for maybe the cat player for dealing with this one. Interesting. So then I get this like brain boom of what if, hear me out. What if I get all the characters, both tile sets, and make it to where you're having to swap characters as you go into new types of levels? It's just a thought. We'll see how it goes. I also saw these really cute mushrooms that you can add for atmosphere, and these really cute like plants and stuff you can add for atmosphere. So I thought maybe I could do something with those. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm noodling right now. I might have to simplify it down to either the Candyland or the Star Realms. I don't have a lot of experience with tile sets, so that's where I'd be expanding at this point. Um, and then I'm wanting to think of different battle mechanics depending on which character you swap to. So I might need to simplify it down to swapping characters with different battle mechanics. Or I don't know. I need to take the whole idea, break it down, and then see what is the simplest viable version of it that still meets the brief, and go from there with the idea of using Godot, because that is the engine I'm the most comfortable with. I know that I've talked to some people and they're like, hey, maybe you should go ahead and learn Unity. But after my experience of the last 48 hours of trying to figure it out, I don't know. It's not, it doesn't feel fun. It feels so rigid in the way that things have to work. And it could just be that I'm using Adventure Creator and it's very rigid. But I don't know. We'll see. But I would have to jump over a lot more hurdles in this moment for the game jam in order to use Unity versus using Godot. So, yeah. But right now, I think I know what I'm going to do. So, I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be quickly following, because it's going to be me explaining what I figured out tonight for tomorrow. See you in like 10 seconds. So we already know what the theme is. I showed you the characters I want to use. I am currently going with the swapping mechanic. The whole idea is that a human's been isekai'd into a new world. They show up in a dungeon, which is the Candyland one. They think they figure everything out, and then they end the dungeon level, and then they're another kind of character altogether. So then they have to figure out, okay, I collected all these things, where am I doing? So it's this back and forth type thing of figuring out what the new world is. There's not a current story beyond that. Normally I'm one for more story, but this is a game jam. I can flesh out a better story after I get all the mechanics thought through. But I think a lot of the main beats are there. I discussed a lot of this with my mom, who loves anime isekais. She's the one who came up with the idea of an isekai, to be honest. Sorry, I'm looking down at notes. There's a few other things, but I don't need to mention them right now. I can mention them as they come up later. So, yeah, that is the current update. I went ahead and got the Candyland thing. I am using the other one. Pretty much everything I had originally showed to you guys is being used. I might have to use some other things. We'll see. And if so, I will show them off to you or link them or whatever. All the things. All the things. So yeah, that is the update for today. So yesterday, I was able to work on starting to learn state machines, because I've not really messed a whole lot with that. It's closer to how I want to be programming, but I've found them difficult to understand. I'm still struggling, but I found a few tutorials and stuff. I've kind of got it working now. It's just a matter of, I think too many things are trying to pull on the speed and gravity and things that it's not working correctly. So I need to move around where that stuff is being housed. And then, because the player isn't really moving correctly. I also started using Dialogic as my game's dialogue manager, essentially. And I find it a lot easier to understand than Dialogue Manager. which I feel bad about because I've been struggling so hard to use it. But I find Dialogic a lot easier. It's not available in the asset library. You have to go to their GitHub. But I think it's really worth it. And I've only been using it a little bit. I haven't gotten to the full usage, and it's already easier to understand what's going on. Let's see. And then I've got a lot of the intro stuff set up, which is fun. I've got some basic global scripts set up. The thing that I've been struggling with is the state machine. Also, I learned some new stuff about how the tile mapping works. It's a lot easier than it used to be, at least for me. So I'm looking forward to using that. I did remember to add collisions and physics and stuff. I should probably look into seeing what else the things do. But, yeah, I'm really excited about what I'm making. I'm still confused by state machines, but I'll figure it out. But I'm really excited by what I'm making. I think it's going to be cool. So far, I'm still working on the dungeon level. So I think it'll be interesting to see what the real world level looks like and how it plays out. And that's one of the other reasons I wanted to make a state machine, to make it easier to control the player in the dungeon versus not in the dungeon. So, yeah. So yesterday, I spent most of my time trying to get a different computer working in order to do some stuff with my family. But I did finally get the state machine working how I wanted. And it's just a matter of building the dungeon levels now and eventually building the non-dungeon world area. And then that's pretty much it. I've done most of what needs to be done. I did start making the pickups. I'm running into a little bit of issue with those, but I realized as I was going to bed last night and waking up this morning, it's kind of okay that it's as random as it is. I'm okay with that. Because I use the same system that I use in Dragon's Keep that lets the dragon fireballs shoot at the player. I use that same system. So it's all random. And sometimes there's a bunch of candy, and sometimes there's only a few candies. I don't know why. And sometimes the candies are on top of each other. I'm sure there's a way to do the logic where if this one's already been used, it needs to be taken out of the array and then put back into the array or something. But I don't know how to do that at the moment, and it's not a high priority. I've only got a few more days left. I want to focus on getting more levels done. I also grabbed an asset pack for portals, and I figured that would be easier to denote, oh, we're going into a different section. And I'm having fun doing the writing for the character. Which makes sense. I'm a writer. I'm an author. Not just a writer, I'm an author. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this project so far, but it caters to a lot of things I've already been learning. I'm not trying to learn a whole new system. I'm trying to extend or add on top of a system I already have, essentially, which I think is a better way to learn for me. So yeah, I will see you guys in a few seconds. So yesterday was mostly spent on getting the AI of enemies working. I went back and forth between using a plugin and not using a plugin, added a plugin, got rid of a plugin, started learning about animation trees, which is really cool, and I will be using that on the main player because I think that's going to be easier than what I have going on right now. And I'm still working on the enemies. I know, like most things, if I get it working on one, I can get it working on everything. And I realized that what I was originally using was a Path 2D and Path Follow 2D. And that got it kind of working. That works for some things, but when it's directional, I couldn't get it to work how I wanted while also using the animation tree. And then I realized it's probably even easier to use marker 2Ds and just tell it, go to this place, then go to this place, now go back, you know? So that's currently what I'm trying to implement. So yeah, not that long of an update today for yesterday. Like I said, it was mostly spent doing the same things over and over and over again. But I stopped sooner than I did last time, and that's what matters. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Yesterday, I managed to get not the animation tree working, but I am using the animation player in order to get the enemies to move how I want. I also found a bug in the animation player that I managed to introduce. And by a bug, I mean I loaded in the animations wrong. So that might not have been helping the tree, but it was using a thing with velocity and floats and vector 2s, and things weren't loading in correctly, so I wasn't going to be able to use the animation tree anyway, because the tutorial I found for how to use that, I guess, no longer works from what I can tell, at least not from my applications. It might work for a player, but not for an NPC. Let's see. I also managed to add a day-night cycle that I'm going to use both in the dungeon area and in the main world. I added a save load system that I'm probably going to have to modify in order for it to work in the HTML version. So I've got to do some research into that. I did some layout rearranging. I finished making level 1 and 2. I need to make sure of some global variables have been messed with or understood within the first level, so that way when you reload, it doesn't kick you to the opening dialogue again. I need to make sure that's working. But other than that, it's just polishing. I want to make at least one more dungeon level that you can like grind. I'd like to make 2 or 3, but I need to at least make one that you can grind. I want to make use of the noise map that you can use for tile maps or tile map layers. I want to see if I can use that and make that do something that would be cool. So yeah. I think I have something that's going to be pretty good for a demo or proof of concept. So yeah, I'm really excited. I also plan on adding in a way to, if you press a button, it cancels out of the jump animation. So that way you can even more better time your jumps. Instead of having to wait for you to float up, get to the apex, and then just drop down. Because that's not as fun as it could be. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I also need to solve the bug with the character clipping into the terrain. I know some of that has to do with the collision shapes for the mushroom versus the fairy. They are placed in different spots. I don't know how to fix that. Without going in and messing with some other things. So we'll see. That's going to be one of the last things I worry about, because you can get out of it by just jumping again. But that is a bug I'm aware of. So I will get to it once I implement everything else. Anyway, I'm halfway through the day and I'm just getting started. But I've been pulling late nights, so I've been making up for it. Anyway, I'm gonna get back into it. So yesterday, most of my time was spent working on the main world and playing around with some UI elements. But I feel like I didn't get a lot done because I ended up not feeling well after eating lunch. So it was a lot of stop and start, laying down, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's the update for yesterday. Not very long, short and sweet. But I have a lot to get done today based on what I had said the day previous. So yesterday was mostly spent on making a cutscene, figuring out how cutscenes work, tweaking a few things here and there. But I got sick again, so I had to lay down a lot more. Today I have less than 9 hours left in order to finish. I don't know. I still think I've got something very interesting here, but is essentially the demo going to be enough is the question. And to that, I don't know. I still have a lot on my plate for today. I've tried to scale back what I wanted, but there's still a lot. There's still a lot. So, yeah. So it's the evening of the final day. I did manage to get a build out. Was it what I was wanting? Nope. Should I have put in the effort for level 3? Turns out no, because I didn't get that working either. It had a lot of bugs. Level 3 did. So essentially it's just the tutorial. It's just the tutorial. No other features. It makes me sad. Because I really wanted to have other things in there. I wanted to have the weapon system and all these other things, but it leaves me open to do other things for the game, because I do want to continue developing it. I don't know how much further I'll develop it. Maybe just to where I get those core components I wanted. I got to see some of the other games that people made, and I know I'm not going to be in the top 3. I don't even think I'll be in the top 10. Because some of these other games are amazing. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I put in the effort, I got slowed down, but I kept going. And that is the moral of that story. If we're going to assign some kind of moral to it at all. And this time, I don't think there was any particular spot that I just kept banging my head against the wall about. Because last time I stuck with the same thing for days, multiple days. Whereas this time, if it didn't work, I stuck at it for maybe still too long, ultimately, but I switched gears a lot faster. And I think that's the point, is that I switched gears. I currently have another game jam that I'm working on. It's not strictly a game jam, and it goes for a month. You can put in multiple submissions and all these things, but it's going to focus on my storytelling abilities. Now, I can add in the programming, but it's mostly about telling a story. So I look forward to being able to do that. I'll probably do something with some of the extended lore of the universe I've already created. That is Evergreen Globe. If you're interested, I'll put a link down in the description that takes you to where you can buy the first book in the series. It's called Fabled Tower. And the whole point of me doing the programming is to eventually tie in the video games with the books and the books with the video games, because they're two passions I've consistently circled around, more so than anything else. And those skills feel like they're developing better. So I figure keep pumping stat points into those, you know? So yeah, I am quite proud of what I managed to accomplish. I'm going to keep working on this game and probably others. I don't think I want to continue doing back-to-back game jams like I did. I need more space in between. Or if I'm going to do back-to-back, they need to be like a month worth of time between. Like, it takes longer to work on it rather than it being like 7 to 8 days as a time span, because that is very stressful for me and makes it to where I can't balance things very well. So yeah, we'll see what the future holds. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me. I will leave an update either in the comments or description, probably both, on where I placed. And I might make a short about it. We'll see. It all depends. It's another week before I find out how it all shakes out. So, though I guess by the time you see this, it'll be a couple of days. Yeah, it'll be a couple of days before I know. A week now, but a couple of days by the time you guys see this. Because I believe the closing will be on the Saturday or Sunday, and this will come out on Friday. So, yeah. I'll leave a link in the description for where you can check out the game if you want to play it. It's in browser. Hopefully it works on computers that aren't PC. I don't have another way of testing, but it should work. If not, eventually I'll release a non-browser version. So that's the plan. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you had or have a great day, and that you get to or got to eat something delicious. See you guys next time.